The tear catches the chandeliers first. A single drop sliding down Victor Winslow's cheek as he stands frozen in the doorway of Atlanta's Grand Meridian Ballroom. Inside, 300 guests have gone silent. The music still plays, Stand By Me, but every eye tracks the impossible scene unfolding on the marble floor. A black man in a driver's uniform holds the CEO's daughter. Not just any daughter. The scarred one. The hidden one. Alara Winslow, half her face marked by fire and metal, moves across the floor like she's dancing on sacred ground. Her hand rests on Caleb Dorsey's shoulder. His palm steadies her waist. They sway, clumsy and perfect, while champagne glasses hang suspended halfway to lips. Victor's security chief whispers something urgent. The CEO waves him off without breaking his stare. His jaw works. His fingers curl against the doorframe. Then his chest hitches once, twice, and another tear follows the first. Nobody in that room understands what they're witnessing. Not the board members. Not the socialites. Not even Caleb himself, who 30 seconds ago was standing against the wall praying he wouldn't get fired for breathing wrong. But Victor knows. He knows exactly what this moment costs. What it reveals. What it heals. The song swells. Alara's eyes close. Caleb guides her through a turn, his work boots scuffing against polished stone, and somewhere in the back of the ballroom a woman starts to cry. Hi viewers, kindly tell us where you're watching from and what time it is. 3 weeks earlier, none of this existed. Caleb drove. Alara hid. Victor buried himself in spreadsheets and scotch. The dance, the tears, the crack in a billionaire's armor. It all started with 6 words spoken in the back seat of a sedan. Can you play something happy? That's where the thread pulls. That's where everything unravels and rebuilds. But to understand why a father cries watching his daughter dance with the help, you need to see what came before. The rides. The secrets. The moment Caleb stopped being invisible and became the only person who could save a girl drowning in her own reflection. The music fades. Victor steps back into shadow. Alara opens her eyes and smiles. Not the half smile she's practiced for years, but something whole. And Caleb realizes his life just changed in ways he can't begin to name. What happens when the invisible become impossible to ignore? Caleb's alarm screams at 5:30 every morning. He slaps it silent, swings his feet onto cold linoleum, and the routine swallows him whole. Coffee. Shower. Pack Nora's lunch while she sleeps in the next room, her small body curled around a stuffed rabbit missing one ear. His apartment sits in the kind of building where the elevator works half the time and the walls remember every argument from every tenant. 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, a kitchen window that looks onto a brick wall 3 feet away. He pays $1,400 a month for it. Before his wife died, they were saving for something better. Now he's just saving. Nora's lunchbox gets a peanut butter sandwich, apple slices, a juice box, and a note. Today's says, "You're braver than dragons. Love, Dad." She started drawing hearts on his notes 6 months ago. He hasn't missed a day since. 6:15. He kisses her forehead. She doesn't wake. Mrs. Chin downstairs takes her to school at 7:30 and picks her up at 3. Costs him $200 a week. Worth every penny. The black sedan waits in the lot, dew covering the hood. 11 years old. 140,000 miles. Caleb treats it like a newborn. Oil changes every 3,000 miles. Tire pressure checked weekly. Interior spotless. When you drive rich people, the car tells them who you are before you open your mouth. By 6:30, he's parked outside gates that cost more than his annual salary. Marble pillars. Manicured hedges. A driveway that curves for half a mile. The Winslow estate sprawls across 12 acres of prime Atlanta real estate, and somewhere inside its walls lives Victor Winslow, the man whose pharmaceutical empire touches 3 continents. Caleb's been driving for the family for 8 months. Mostly Victor. Sometimes business associates. Never the daughter. People whisper about her like she's a ghost. Tragic accident. Terrible scars. Keeps to herself. He checks his phone. A text from the estate manager. Her lips move, mouthing lyrics she clearly knows by heart. Caleb drives. Watches. Says nothing. For 3 minutes and 47 seconds, the scarred daughter of Atlanta's most powerful man looks free. He doesn't know it yet, but he just became the first person in 3 years to see her smile. The rides multiply. Every Tuesday and Thursday, Caleb picks Alara up from therapy. Same clinic. Same silence when she enters. Same question once the door closes. Can you play something happy? He keeps the station locked. Oldies. Motown. Songs from a world that felt simpler. She never requests specifics, never complains. Just listens and taps her fingers and breathes like the music gives her permission. 3 weeks in, she speaks beyond the usual pleasantries. You have a daughter? Caleb's eyes flick to the mirror. Alara's sunglasses reflect his surprise. How do you know? She points to the heart sticker on his console, pink and glittery, placed there by small hands. You keep your car too clean for it to be an accident. He smiles. Nora. She's 8. That's a good name. Silence. Then, she drew that? Every morning she draws something. Hearts, stars, sometimes animals that might be dogs or might be dinosaurs. Alara's lips curve. The first real expression he's seen beyond finger tapping. Must be nice. Having someone who thinks you're worth decorating for. The comment settles heavy. Caleb adjusts his grip on the wheel. She is. Only reason I keep going. Another long pause. The music shifts to Marvin Gaye. Finally, Alara says, my mother used to sing this song. Before the accident. Her voice catches on the last word. Caleb doesn't push. Lets the statement breathe. Mine too, he says quietly. My wife. She'd sing while cooking. Terrible voice, but she committed to every note. Past tense. Alara catches it instantly. Caleb nods. Cancer. 2 years ago February. I'm sorry. Me too. They drive 15 minutes in shared silence. Not uncomfortable. The kind that happens between people who recognize the same wounds. When they reach the estate gates, Alara doesn't get out immediately. Her hand hovers over the door handle. Mr. Dorsey? Caleb. She pauses. Caleb. Thank you. For the music. He meets her eyes in the mirror. Not just the visible one. Both of them. Dark and clear behind the sunglasses she's lowered just slightly. Just doing my job. No. She shakes her head. You're doing something else. She exits before he can respond. The gate closes behind her, and Caleb sits in the empty car wondering what she meant. The heart sticker catches afternoon light. He traces it with his thumb. His phone buzzes. Nora. Daddy, when you coming home? He texts back. Soon, baby. Miss you. She sends 17 heart emojis in response. Caleb pulls away from the estate, but something shifted. The invisible line between driver and passenger has blurred. Not crossed, just acknowledged. Next Tuesday, when Alara gets in, she's holding a folded piece of paper. She sets it on the seat beside her, says nothing. After he drops her off, Caleb finds it. Inside, a drawing. 2 figures, one tall, one small, standing under stars. The tall one has a heart on his chest. Below it, in careful print, thank you for seeing me. He folds it back up, tucks it in his visor next to Nora's latest masterpiece. The next ride comes with more words. Then more. Alara starts talking about the accident, the drunk guest at her father's gala, the car crash, waking up in a hospital room where mirrors had been removed. How her father visited once, looked at her face, and couldn't hide his flinch. Caleb listens. Doesn't offer empty comfort or tragic platitudes. Just witnesses her pain the way someone witnessed his when he lost his wife. I haven't danced since that night, she whispers one afternoon. People stared. Not at me. Through me. Like I'd become something too sad to acknowledge. Her voice fractures. Caleb slows for a red light, turns in his seat. My daughter asked me last week why I don't smile in pictures anymore. I didn't have an answer. Alara looks up. What did you tell her? That I forgot how. But she's teaching me to remember. The light turns green. He doesn't move immediately, just holds Alara's gaze and lets the truth sit between them. That healing isn't about forgetting. It's about finding people who remember you're still whole. When they reach the estate, Alara removes her sunglasses completely. Caleb sees the scars for the first time without barriers. Raised tissue mapping the right side of her face from temple to jaw. She watches him, waiting for the flinch. The look away. The microscopic recoil. He doesn't give her one. Just nods once and says, same time Thursday? She blinks. Then smiles. The full version, not the careful half smile. Same time. But neither of them knows that Thursday will bring something neither music nor kindness can fix. That the world Alara is trying to rejoin will remind her exactly why she left. And that Caleb will have to choose between keeping his job and keeping his conscience. The envelope arrives Tuesday morning. Heavy cardstock. Gold embossing. Alara's name in calligraphy that probably cost more than Caleb's monthly rent. She opens it in the back seat during their ride. reads silently. Her fingers stop tapping. Everything okay? She doesn't answer immediately, just stares at the invitation like it's a court summons. My father's hosting a gala. Next Friday. He wants me to attend. You don't want to go? Haven't been to one since. She stops. Since the accident. Caleb navigates through midday traffic. The music plays low, Aretha Franklin asking for respect. Outside, Atlanta moves in its usual chaos, oblivious to the war happening in his back seat. He sent this to my room. Didn't ask. Just inform me I should be there. Her voice has gone flat. Caleb recognizes the tone. It's the same one Nora uses when she talks about kids at school who won't sit with her at lunch because her clothes come from Target. Do you want to go? Alara's laugh comes out bitter. Want? No. But maybe I should. Maybe it's time to stop hiding. She folds the invitation, tucks it in her purse. The conversation shifts. She asks about Nora, about Caleb's week, about anything except the looming event. But her fingers don't tap anymore. The music might as well be silence. Thursday's ride brings more details. The gala's at the Grand Meridian. 500 guests. Press coverage. Her father's biggest event of the year, celebrating some merger that'll make him another 100 million. He's assigned me a corner table. Away from the stage. Away from photographers. Alara says it matter-of-factly, but Caleb hears the wound underneath. That's practical? She cuts him off. Strategic? Can't have the scarred daughter ruining the aesthetic. That's cruel. She looks up, surprised he said it out loud. Caleb meets her eyes in the mirror. Doesn't soften it. Doesn't apologize. You don't know him. No, but I know what cruelty looks like. And hiding your daughter because she doesn't fit the brochure? That's it. Alara's quiet for a long time. They're almost at the estate before she speaks again. I used to think my scars were the worst thing that happened that night. But they're not. The worst thing was realizing my father agreed with everyone who stared. Her voice doesn't break. Somehow that makes it worse. Caleb pulls through the gate. Parks. Turns fully around instead of speaking through the mirror. You know what my wife told me? Week before she died. Alara shakes her head. She said the world's full of people who'll love you when you're easy. The ones who stay when you're hard. Those are your people. What's your point? That your father's not your people. Not right now. But that doesn't mean you're not worth showing up for. Alara's throat works. She grips her purse tight enough that her knuckles pale. I don't know if I'm brave enough. You drove 3 years with scars people stare at. You walked out of that clinic every week knowing what waited. That's not bravery. That's just existing. Caleb shakes his head. Existing is what I did after my wife died. Waking up for Nora, that was bravery. You want to go to that gala? That's not existing. That's fighting. She studies him. Really looks at him, maybe for the first time. The crow's feet around his eyes. The silver threading his temples. The weariness he carries like extra weight. Will you drive me? To the gala? That's the plan. No. She leans forward. I mean, will you stay? Just knowing someone's there who doesn't. Who doesn't see you as broken. She nods. Caleb should say no. Should maintain professional distance. Should remember the invisible line between their worlds. But then he thinks about Nora coming home crying because someone called her shoes ugly. How he wanted to storm that school and make the world kinder by force. I'll be there, he says. Alara exhales like she's been holding her breath for miles. Thank you. When she exits, Caleb sits in the empty car longer than usual. The drawing she made him stares from the visor. 2 figures under stars. He pulls out his phone. Texts his daughter, "You're the bravest person I know. Love you." She responds, "Love you more, Daddy." Then, "Can we get pizza tonight?" He smiles. Texts back, "Extra cheese." Friday arrives faster than either of them wants. Caleb picks up his tuxedo from the rental place. The estate manager insisted he look proper for the event. It fits poorly. The sleeves too long, the shoulders too tight. He looks like a child playing dress-up in his father's clothes. Nora sees him before he leaves. Her eyes go wide. "Daddy, you look like a prince." He kneels down. More like a pumpkin someone turned into a carriage. It'll turn back at midnight. She doesn't get the reference, but hugs him anyway. Her small arms circle his neck, and for a moment Caleb considers calling in sick. Staying home, letting Alara face her demons without dragging him into her world. But then he remembers her voice. "I don't know if I'm brave enough," and he knows he can't. "Be good for Mrs. Chun, okay?" "Always am." He kisses her forehead. Leaves before the doubt can root deeper. The sedan's been detailed. The estate sent someone to make it presentable. It gleams under streetlights like it belongs in the life it's about to enter. Caleb drives to the mansion, and when Alara emerges, he forgets how to breathe. She's wearing a navy gown. Simple, elegant, no sunglasses. Her hair swept back, the scars fully visible. A topography of survival running from temple to jaw, pink and raised and impossible to ignore. She walks to the car with her chin up, gets in, meets his eyes in the mirror. How do I look? Caleb doesn't lie, doesn't soften it. Terrifying. She blinks, then laughs, sharp and genuine. Good. That's what I'm going for. They drive toward the Grand Meridian, and with every mile, Caleb feels the weight of what's coming. The stares, the whispers, the way Victor Winslow will look at his daughter and wish she'd stayed hidden. But Alara's fingers are tapping again, matching the rhythm of the music. And for the first time since he met her, they're not tapping to escape. They're tapping to prepare for war. What happens when the hidden refuse to hide? The Grand Meridian Ballroom drips wealth like condensation. Crystal chandeliers throw fractured light across marble floors. Women wear gowns that cost mortgages. Men adjust cufflinks worth car payments. The air smells like imported flowers and expensive cologne, the kind that announces its price tag before it's sent. Caleb parks in the circular drive. Valets swarm like pilot fish. He gets out, opens Alara's door, and the world tilts. Every head turns. Conversations stutter mid-sentence. A woman's champagne flute pauses halfway to her lips. The stares come fast, hungry, shocked, pitying, curious. Not at Alara. Through her. Like she's a car wreck on the highway nobody can look away from. Alara's hand trembles on Caleb's arm. Just for a second. Then she straightens, lifts her chin, and walks. The crowd parts. Not out of respect. Out of discomfort. Like her scars might be contagious if they stand too close. Caleb stays 3 steps behind, the appropriate distance for staff. But his jaw locks tight enough to crack teeth. He watches a board member elbow his wife, whispers something behind his hand. Watches a photographer deliberately turn his camera away. Watches the room perform synchronized cruelty in real time. Alara finds her assigned table. Corner. Hidden behind a pillar. Far from the stage where her father will give his speech. The seat faces the wall. She sits. Smooths her gown. Doesn't look at Caleb. He wants to say something. Can't. His role doesn't allow comfort. Just proximity. The program starts. Victor Winslow takes the stage. 6'2", silver hair, a smile that's been practiced in mirrors for decades. He talks about innovation, legacy, the future of healthcare. His voice carries authority that makes lesser men shrink. He doesn't mention his daughter once. Halfway through the speech, Alara's fingers stop moving. She's staring at the wall, but Caleb can see her reflection in the window glass. See the way she's disappeared inside herself. A waiter approaches their section, sets down champagne nobody ordered, leans close to Caleb and whispers, "Mr. Winslow requests the young lady consider leaving early." Before the press photos, Caleb's blood goes arctic. What? The waiter won't meet his eyes. Just repeating the message, "Sir." Across the room, Victor Winslow shakes hands with a senator. His smile never wavers. His daughter sits 30 yards away, and he's already erasing her. Caleb looks at Alara. She heard. Of course she heard. Her face has gone carefully blank. The expression of someone who's learned to absorb blows without flinching. The waiter leaves. Alara stands. "I should go." Her voice comes out steady. Too steady. The kind of calm that precedes collapse. Caleb stands too. "Miss Winslow, please, just take me home." They navigate the ballroom in reverse. Same stairs. New whispers. Someone says "poor thing" loud enough to carry. Someone else responds "at least her father tried." Alara walks faster. Caleb matches her pace. They're almost to the door when Victor intercepts them. "Alara." His voice carries warmth for the crowd. His hand touches her elbow. "Perhaps we can speak privately?" She stops. Turns. For 1 second, hope flickers across her face. The desperate hope of a daughter who still believes her father might choose her. Later, she says, "After your speech." Victor's smile tightens. "I think it's best if you return home. You look tired." The hope dies. Caleb watches it happen in real time. Watches Alara realize her father isn't protecting her. He's protecting his image. Of course. Her voice has gone hollow. "Whatever you think is best." She turns and walks out. Doesn't run. Doesn't cry. Just exits with the practiced grace of someone who's been dismissed before. Caleb follows. Behind them, the gala continues. Music, laughter, the sound of people celebrating while a girl bleeds out in silence. The sedan waits where he left it. Alara gets in the back, closes the door. The sound echoes like a cell locking. Caleb slides into the driver's seat, starts the engine. The radio tries to come on, Stand By Me queued up from their last ride, but he shuts it off. Some moments don't deserve soundtrack. They sit at a red light 3 blocks from the ballroom. Rain starts falling, gentle at first, then harder. Drops race down the windshield like they're competing to disappear first. Alara's voice comes from the back. Small, broken. Do you ever wish you could be someone else, Mr. Dorsey? Caleb's hands tighten on the wheel. The light turns green. He doesn't move. No. Why? Because I know who I am. Took me a long time, but I got there. Silence. Then, and who are you? He looks at her in the mirror. Really looks at her. A father who lost his wife but kept his heart. A man who drives rich people but doesn't envy them. Someone who knows the difference between being seen and being visible. I'm someone who wishes the world saw people for who they are. Not what they look like. Not what they're worth. Not what their last name means. Alara's face crumples. One tear escapes, then another. She covers her mouth with her hand, like she can hold the grief in through force of will. Caleb pulls over. Cars honk around them. Rain hammers the roof. He turns in his seat. What your father did tonight. That wasn't about you. That was about him. His fear. His shame. His inability to see past surfaces. Her shoulders shake. I just wanted him to look at me. Just once. The way he used to. Caleb's throat burns. He thinks about Nora. About how she looks at him like he hung the moon, even when he comes home exhausted and empty. About how children shouldn't have to earn their parents' gaze. Then he's not worth looking up to. The words land heavy. Alara stares at him through tears. Nobody's ever said it out loud. Nobody's ever named her father's failure as his instead of hers. She wipes her face. Nods once. I want to go back. Home. No. She straightens. Fixes her hair. Checks her reflection in the window. To the gala. I'm not done. Caleb's heart kicks against his ribs. Miss Winslow, I don't think. I'm not asking permission. Her voice has steel now. I'm asking if you'll drive me. They lock eyes in the mirror. The rain continues its assault. Somewhere behind them, the city moves forward, indifferent to small rebellions in parked cars. Then I'll drive you. He pulls back into traffic, heads toward the ballroom, toward confrontation, toward the moment everything changes. Neither of them knows what's coming. That in less than an hour, Alara will take a microphone. That Caleb will step onto a dance floor he was never meant to walk. That Victor Winslow will finally see his daughter, not as a scar, not as a disappointment, but as the bravest person in the room. The rain stops as they pull up. The valet looks confused. Thought you already left. Alara exits the car, stands in the drive, looks up at the glowing windows where her father's world continues without her. So did I? She walks back inside, and this time, she's not the girl they can ignore. Alara's heels click against marble. Each step echoes louder than the last. The ballroom doors stand open, golden light spilling out, music drifting through like smoke. She pauses at the threshold. Her hand rises to her face, fingers tracing the scars she's about to offer up for judgment. Behind her, Caleb waits by the car. He shouldn't follow. Protocol demands he stay outside. But when Alara glances back, her eyes hold a question that has nothing to do with driving. He locks the car, straightens his rental tuxedo, falls into step 3 paces behind her. They enter together. The room doesn't notice immediately. Victor's still speaking, something about quarterly projections and shareholder value. But then a woman near the door gasps, nudges her husband. He turns, stares. The ripple spreads outward like a stone dropped in still water. Alara walks toward her corner table, doesn't sit. Instead, she changes direction, moves toward the stage. Whispers multiply. Oh my God, is she? Someone should stop her. Where's Victor? The crowd shifts, uncomfortable, fascinated. A phone camera rises. Then another. Victor sees her mid-sentence. His speech falters, just for a beat. His eyes widen, then narrow. He recovers fast, but not fast enough. Everyone caught the stumble. Alara reaches the stage steps. A security guard moves to intercept. She looks at him, just looks, and he freezes. Something in her face makes him step aside. She climbs. 5 steps, each one a declaration. By the time she reaches the microphone, The room has gone silent. Even the string quartet has stopped playing. Victor stands 3 feet away. His jaw works. His hand twitches toward her elbow, but he doesn't touch. Can't. Not with 500 witnesses watching. Alara faces the crowd. Her scars catch stage lights. Pink tissue turns silver, a map of survival etched in flesh. She doesn't hide, doesn't turn her head to show her good side. Just stands there, fully visible, terrifyingly present. I used to think, her voice cracks. She clears her throat. Starts again. I used to think my scars were the ugliest thing about me. The room holds its breath. Someone coughs. Silverware clinks against china somewhere in the back. But someone reminded me this week that pain doesn't destroy you. Hiding from it does. Caleb's heart hammers. He's pressed against the back wall, forgotten in his driver's uniform. But Alara's words reach him like they were meant for his ears alone. So tonight, I'm not hiding anymore. A woman in the front row dabs her eyes. A board member shifts uncomfortably. Victor's face has gone pale, his mouth a tight line. Alara looks at her father. For 3 seconds, they hold eye contact. Then she turns back to the crowd. I want to dance again. The statement hangs there. Absurd. Impossible. Beautiful. The string quartet looks at each other, confused. Someone whispers, should we? The conductor raises his hands uncertainly. Then the opening notes of Stand By Me fill the ballroom. Not from the quartet. From somewhere else. A speaker. The DJ booth. Someone made it happen. Alara's eyes close. Her body sways slightly. Then she opens them and scans the crowd. Her gaze lands on Caleb. The room follows her line of sight. 500 faces turn toward the back wall. Toward the black man in the poorly fitted tuxedo who was supposed to be invisible. Alara extends her hand. Not dramatically. Not performatively. Just offers it. Like she's asking for directions, not revolution. Would you dance with me, Mr. Dorsey? The question detonates in silence. A senator's mouth falls open. A socialite grips her husband's arm. Someone whispers this can't be happening. Caleb's feet have grown roots. His pulse throbs in his temples. Every eye in the room presses against him like physical weight. He thinks about Nora. About keeping his job. About the invisible lines that keep the world organized and safe. Then he thinks about Alara's voice in the back seat. Do you ever wish you could be someone else? And his answer. No. He steps forward. The crowd parts. Not out of respect this time. Out of shock. Each step toward the stage feels like walking through concrete. His work boots. The only shoes he owns, scuff against polished marble. His hands sweat. His throat closes. Alara waits. Her hand still extended. Her face open, vulnerable, terrified. Caleb reaches the stage. Climbs the steps. Crosses the distance between them. Takes her hand. Her fingers are cold. Trembling. His are rough. Calloused from years of gripping steering wheels and carrying groceries and holding his daughter when she cries. They move toward the center of the stage. The music swells. When the night has come and the land is dark, Caleb's hand settles on Alara's waist. Her palm rests on his shoulder. They stand there for a moment, not moving, just breathing. Then they dance. What happens when courage finds its echo? The first step is terrible. Caleb's boot catches the hem of Alara's gown. She stumbles. He steadies her. Someone in the crowd laughs nervously, then stops. They try again. This time their feet find rhythm. Not graceful, not practiced, but real. The kind of movement that happens when two people decide falling together beats standing alone. The ballroom has transformed into a cathedral of held breath. No one speaks. No one moves. Phones record. Cameras flash. But the sound stays swallowed. Alara's scars press against stage lights. The tissue catches illumination differently than regular skin. Shinier, textured, impossible to ignore. She doesn't turn away from the brightness. Doesn't angle her face. Just lets herself be seen. Caleb guides her through a turn. Clumsy. His hand on her back provides gentle pressure, steering her like he's learned to do with his daughter when they dance in their tiny kitchen. Alara follows. Her eyes close. A tear escapes, rolls down her cheek, disappears into her collar. The song continues. So darling, darling, stand by me. In the third row, a woman starts crying. Not quiet tears. Real sobs that shake her shoulders. Her husband tries to comfort her, but she waves him off. Just watches. Witnesses. Near the bar, a photographer lowers his camera. Forgets to take pictures. His mouth hangs open like he's seeing something holy. At the back of the room, Victor Winslow leans against a pillar. His security chief stands beside him, waiting for orders. But Victor says nothing. His chest rises and falls too quickly. His fingers curl against expensive fabric. Then, so slowly it's almost imperceptible, his hand rises to his face. Wipes his eyes. On stage, Caleb and Alara dance. His work boots scuff marble. Her gown sweeps in circles. They're offbeat, out of sync, perfectly imperfect. Alara opens her eyes. Looks at Caleb. Really looks. Not through car mirrors, not in stolen glances, but face to face. Her voice comes soft enough that only he hears. Thank you. 2 words. They carry the weight of 3 years. Of every ride. Every conversation. Every moment someone made her feel less than whole. Caleb's throat tightens. He can't speak. Just nods once and keeps moving. The music builds toward its crescendo. Whenever you're in trouble, won't you stand by me? Alara's fingers tighten on his shoulder. Her body relaxes into the dance. For 30 seconds, she stops being the scarred daughter. Stops being the hidden shame. Stops being anything except a woman moving across a floor with someone who sees her. The crowd begins to understand what they're watching. This isn't scandal. Isn't spectacle. It's resurrection. A man in the front starts clapping. Slow. Deliberate. His wife joins. Then the woman who was crying. Then the photographer. Then more. The applause spreads like wildfire, building until it drowns out even the music. But Caleb and Alara don't stop. They keep dancing through the noise, through the tears, through the moment that will define both their lives forever. The final note plays. They stop. Stand there holding each other while the room erupts. Whistles. Cheers. Standing ovation from people who 30 minutes ago wanted her gone. Alara's chest heaves. She looks out at the crowd, really looks at them for the first time, and her face transforms. Not into a smile. Into something bigger. Recognition. Acceptance. Power. She releases Caleb. Steps to the microphone one more time. The room falls silent again. To everyone who stared, she pauses. Swallows. Thank you. You reminded me I'm still here. She exits the stage. Not through the back. Through the crowd. People reach for her. Touch her arm. Her hand. Whisper apologies and congratulations, and you're so brave. Caleb follows. Still 3 steps behind. But now the distance feels different. Not hierarchy. Just respect. They're almost to the door when Victor intercepts them again. But this time, he doesn't speak to Alara. He speaks to Caleb. Mr. Dorsey. His voice shakes. A word? Caleb glances at Alara. She nods. I'll wait in the car. She leaves. The crowd swallows her in well wishes and camera flashes. Victor and Caleb stand alone in a pocket of space the room creates around them. Victor's eyes are red-rimmed. His jaw trembles. When he speaks, the words come broken. I watched my daughter die tonight. Caleb stiffens. Sir, No. Victor shakes his head. I watched her die 3 years ago. In that hospital. Not her body. Her, everything else. And I let it happen. Made it happen. His hands curl into fists. Then unclench. Hang uselessly at his sides. When she danced with you, I saw her again. My little girl. The one who used to spin in the kitchen. Who believed she could fly if she tried hard enough. Victor's voice cracks completely. The CEO, the man who runs empires and commands boardrooms, breaks down in a ballroom while string instruments pack themselves away and waiters clear champagne flutes. I don't know how to fix this, he whispers. Caleb should stay quiet. Should nod and leave. But then he thinks about Nora asking why he doesn't smile in pictures. About the ways grief makes cowards of everyone. Start by looking at her, he says. Really looking. Not at her scars. At her. Victor's face crumples. He nods once. Twice. Can't speak. Just stands there drowning in everything he's failed to be. Caleb leaves him there. Walks out into cool air that tastes like rain and new beginnings. The sedan waits. Alara sits in the back, her face pressed against the window, watching the city lights blur past even though the car hasn't moved yet. He gets in, starts the engine. They sit in silence. Ready? He asks. She looks at him in the mirror. Smiles. The full version. The kind that reaches her eyes and holds. I don't know, but let's find out. He drives. Away from the ballroom. Away from the stairs that have transformed from cruelty to curiosity. Toward whatever comes next. Behind them, Victor Winslow stands alone in the doorway. Watches the taillights disappear. Then he pulls out his phone. Dials his daughter's number for the first time in 3 years. It rings, and rings, and rings. How do you rebuild a bridge you burned to ash? The morning comes too bright. Caleb wakes to 17 missed calls. His phone buzzes against the nightstand like an angry wasp. He grabs it, squints at the screen. 3 from the estate manager. 6 from numbers he doesn't recognize. 8 from a single contact. V. Winslow. His stomach drops. He's fired. Has to be. You don't dance with the billionaire's daughter and keep your job. He sits up, runs his hands over his face, prepares for unemployment. Nora bursts through his door wearing mismatched socks and yesterday's shirt. Daddy, you're famous. What? She shoves her tablet at him. The screen shows a video, shaky phone footage of last night's dance. Already has 2 million views. The comments scroll endlessly. Most beautiful thing I've ever seen. This restored my faith in humanity. Who's cutting onions? Caleb's chest tightens. He scrolls through dozens of videos. Same moment, different angles. All of them capturing the instant he took Alara's hand. The moment the world stopped. You danced with a princess. Nora bounces on his bed. Mrs. Chin showed me. Everyone's talking about it. She's not a princess, baby. She looks like one. Caleb kisses her forehead. Sets the tablet down. Checks his voicemail. The first 3 are what he expected. Termination warnings, requests to return company property, legal threats. The 4th is different. Victor Winslow's voice. Rough. Exhausted. Mr. Dorsey, please. I need to speak with you. It's about Alara. And other things. Come to the estate. 10 o'clock. The message ends. Caleb plays it again. Listens for anger. Hears only desperation. He drops Nora at school. Drives to the estate. The gates open before he announces himself. The driveway feels longer today. More exposing. He parks in front of the main entrance instead of the service area. A housekeeper answers. Doesn't speak. Just gestures him inside. The mansion swallows him. Marble floors. Oil paintings worth more than his life. Silence that costs money. He's led to a study. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking gardens so perfect they look fake. Victor stands by the glass. Still wearing last night's tuxedo. Shirt untucked. Bow tie hanging loose. He looks smaller somehow. Diminished. Mr. Dorsey. He doesn't turn around. Thank you for coming. Caleb stays near the door. Sir. Victor's shoulders rise and fall. Please. Sit. Caleb doesn't move. I'd rather stand. A ghost of a smile crosses Victor's face. Of course you would. He finally turns. His eyes are bloodshot. A tumbler of amber liquid sits on the desk, mostly empty. He looks like a man who hasn't slept. Hasn't stopped thinking. I watched something last night. Something I didn't understand at first. He moves to the desk. Opens a laptop. Turns it toward Caleb. Presses play. The video shows the dance. But from a different angle. This one focuses on faces. Alara's terror transforming to joy. The crowd's shock melting into tears. And there, in the corner, Victor himself. Stepping out of the ballroom. His hand over his mouth. His eyes glistening. The video zooms. Enhances. Shows clearly what Caleb felt, but couldn't see. The CEO crying. Not trying to hide it. Just breaking. Victor closes the laptop. That's been viewed 8 million times. By morning, probably 20 million. He picks up a photo from his desk. Shows it to Caleb. A young girl, maybe 6, twirling in a pink dress. Her face whole. Her smile unguarded. Alara before the accident. This is who I lost. Not in the crash. After. When I made her believe the scars mattered more than her heart. His voice fractures. Caleb says nothing. Just witnesses the confession. I built an empire on image. On perfection. On never showing weakness. Victor sets the photo down. And then my daughter became living proof that control is an illusion. So I hit her. Called it protection. Called it love. He looks at Caleb directly. It was cowardice. The word sits heavy. Victor doesn't flinch from it. Doesn't soften it. You did something I couldn't. You saw her. Not the scars. Not the tragedy. Just her. I didn't do anything special. Victor shakes his head. That's the problem. You did exactly what any decent father should. And it took a stranger to show me what decent looks like. He opens a folder. Slides it across the desk. Caleb doesn't touch it. Inside is a contract. Head of Community Transport Services. A new branch of the Winslow Foundation dedicated to supporting single parents, trauma survivors, people who've been overlooked. Your name is on it. 6-figure salary. Full benefits. You'd run the entire division. Caleb stares at the folder. at the life-changing offer sitting in embossed paper, at the way guilt tries to buy redemption. Why? Because you've been driving for others long enough. Victor's voice cracks. Time you had a chance to lead. Caleb picks up the contract, reads it. Every word legitimate, every number real. He could give Nora the life she deserves. Better schools, stable housing, a father who comes home before dark. But he thinks about the man in front of him, about how money doesn't fix what's broken if the breaking isn't acknowledged. I'll take it. On one condition. Victor nods. Anything. You look at your daughter. Every day. Not past her. Not despite her. At her. And you tell her she's beautiful. Victor's face crumples. His hand grips the desk edge. White knuckles. Trembling jaw. Then he nods. Can't speak. Just nods over and over. Where is she? Caleb asks. Here. Victor's voice barely works. In her room. Hasn't come out since we got home. Caleb sets the contract down. I'd like to see her. If that's okay. Victor gestures toward the hallway. Second floor. Last door on the left. Caleb walks through a mansion that's slowly transforming from mausoleum to home. Climbs stairs. Finds the door. Knocks. Come in. Alara sits by her window, still wearing last night's gown. Her hair down. Face washed clean. The morning light hits her scars, turning them gold. She looks up. Smiles tired. Hey yourself. He sits in the chair across from her. They don't speak for a moment. Just exist in comfortable silence. My father called me this morning, she finally says. 14 times. Left voicemails. Said he wants to talk. You going to answer? I don't know. She traces a finger along the windowsill. 3 years he couldn't look at me. Now he can't stop calling. People change. Do they? Or do they just get caught? Caleb considers this. Sometimes getting caught is the beginning of change. Not the whole thing, but the start. Alara looks at him. Studies his face like she's reading a map. You took the job, didn't you? How'd you know? Because you're too practical not to. And too good to feel guilty about it. She's right. He doesn't feel guilty. Just aware of how life shifts in unexpected directions. How dancing with someone can change trajectories. I'm starting a foundation, Alara says. Stand by me. For people who've been told they're not enough. That's perfect. I want you to be part of it. Not just the job. Part of the mission. Caleb nods. Already was planning on it. She laughs. Soft. Genuine. Then she stands. Crosses to him. Hugs him, brief but real. Thank you. For seeing me when I forgot how to see myself. Thank you for reminding me why I keep going. She releases him. Steps back. Straightens her gown. I should probably change. And maybe answer my father's calls. Probably. Caleb leaves. Walks back down the stairs. Victor waits at the bottom. His hand grips the banister. His face holds a question he can't voice. She'll answer, Caleb says. When she's ready. Victor's shoulders sag with relief. With terror. With hope. Thank you. Don't thank me. Just do better. Caleb walks out of the mansion. Gets in his car. Drives home to his daughter, who's waiting with another drawing. This one shows 3 figures under stars. Caleb, Nora, and a woman with marks on her face. Below it, Nora wrote, Daddy's friend is brave too. He tapes it to the fridge. Next to 17 others. A gallery of love rendered in crayon and hope. His phone buzzes. A text from Alara. He's coming up. Wish me luck. Another text, seconds later. Never mind. Don't need luck. Just courage. Caleb smiles. Types back. You've always had that. What happens when wounds become wisdom? 6 weeks later, the foundation launches. Not in a ballroom. In a community center in East Atlanta where the paint peels and the AC barely works and the people know what struggling looks like. Caleb stands on a makeshift stage, plywood and borrowed speakers. No tuxedo. Just jeans and a button-down Nora picked out. She sits in the front row, swinging her legs, holding a bouquet of grocery store flowers. Alara stands beside him. Hair pulled back. A simple blue dress. Scars on full display. She stopped wearing makeup to cover them. Stopped apologizing for taking up space. The room fills with single parents. Trauma survivors. People who've been told they're not valuable enough to invest in. They sit in folding chairs and eye the stage with the wariness of those who've been promised help before and received judgment instead. Victor sits in the back, trying to be invisible, failing. He's been showing up every day for 5 weeks, not to direct, but to learn, to sweep floors and move chairs and listen to stories he would have ignored 6 months ago. Alara approaches the microphone. Her hands don't shake anymore. 3 months ago, I hid from the world. Believed my scars made me less than human. Then someone reminded me, scars just mean you survived something. She looks at Caleb. He nods. Stand By Me exists because survival deserves support. Because the people society overlooks are often the strongest among us. Because a single dad who lost his wife taught me more about courage than any motivational speech ever could. Applause rises. Genuine. Warm. Nora claps so hard her flowers fall. She scrambles to pick them up, grinning. Caleb steps forward. Takes the mic, clears his throat. I'm not good at speeches, but I know what it feels like to wake up and wonder if you're enough. To work 2 jobs and still feel like you're failing. To love someone so much it scares you. His voice steadies. He looks at the faces watching him, sees his own story reflected back. This foundation isn't charity. It's investment. In parents who need childcare so they can work. In survivors who need therapy they can't afford. In people who just need someone to say, you matter. Your struggle isn't weakness. It's proof you're still fighting. The room goes quiet. Then a woman in the third row stands. Starts clapping. Others join. Soon everyone's on their feet. Not polite applause. Recognition. Gratitude. Solidarity. Nora runs to the stage. Hugs her father's legs. Caleb lifts her up. She waves the flowers at the crowd like a trophy. These are for the princess, she announces. Because Daddy said she's brave. Alara laughs. Accepts the flowers. Kneels to Nora's level. Thank you. But I'm not a princess. Nora tilts her head. Then what are you? Just a girl who learned to stand up again. Nora considers this. That's better than a princess. After the ceremony, people line up. Share their stories. A man whose wife died in childbirth, raising twins alone. A woman with burns covering her arms, trying to re-enter the workforce. A teenager who survived violence, trying to finish school. Caleb and Alara listen. Really listen. Take notes. Make promises they intend to keep. Victor approaches the line. Waits his turn like everyone else. When he reaches Alara, he doesn't speak immediately. Just looks at her. Studies her face the way Caleb taught him. Not at the scars, but through them. You did good, Dad. 3 words. They land like absolution. Victor's eyes fill. We did good. You did the hard part. They hug. Awkward at first. Then tighter. 3 years of distance compressed into 30 seconds of reconciliation. When they separate, Victor turns to Caleb. Extends his hand. Thank you. For saving my daughter. Caleb shakes his head. I didn't save her. Just drove her where she needed to go. That's the same thing. No. Caleb smiles. Saving implies she was broken. She was never broken. Just lost. There's a difference. Victor absorbs this. Nods slowly. Then he does something unexpected. Kneels to Nora's level. You have a good dad. Nora beams. I know. He's the best. You're right. Victor stands. Walks away before his composure cracks completely. Alara watches him go. Touches Caleb's arm. He's trying. That's all anyone can do. The evening winds down. Chairs get stacked. Floors get swept. Caleb finds himself standing outside with Alara, watching the sun set over a city that's both brutal and beautiful. You ever regret it? She asks. Dancing with me? Caleb thinks about that night. The fear. The judgment. The moment he chose courage over comfort. Every day, he says. She looks stricken. Really? He grins. Every day, I regret not dancing with you sooner. She shoves him. Laughs. You're terrible. I'm honest. They stand in comfortable silence. Then Alara says, I got my license back. Haven't driven in 3 years, but I'm doing it. Tomorrow. That's huge. Terrifying. Same thing. She looks at him. Will you ride with me? For the first time? Caleb pretends to consider. Long as you play good music. Deal. They shake on it. A promise. A friendship. A partnership built on the wreckage of what they both survived. Nora runs out, chased by another kid from the event. They circle Caleb and Alara, laughing, oblivious to heavy conversations and hard-won healing. Daddy, can we get ice cream? Absolutely. Alara too? Nora looks at Alara with 8-year-old certainty. Obviously Alara too. Alara's eyes shine. I'd love that. They walk toward Caleb's car, the same sedan that's carried so many conversations, so many miles. It's not magical, not special, just reliable, steady. Proof that sometimes the ordinary becomes extraordinary simply by showing up. As they drive toward ice cream and laughter and whatever comes next, Caleb glances in the rearview mirror. Alara's tapping her fingers against the window, matching the music, smiling at something Nora said. And for the first time in 2 years, Caleb feels like maybe he's not just surviving. Maybe he's living again. How does grace find us in the smallest gestures? The music plays low. Stand by me, like always. But this time it drifts through a community center gym where 50 people gather for the Foundation's 3-month celebration. Not a gala, just pizza and gratitude and stories of lives slowly rebuilding. Caleb stands with Nora on his shoulders. She's gotten heavier, growing faster than he can track. She points at Alara across the room, surrounded by families whose children now have after-school care, whose parents now have jobs. Look, Daddy, everyone loves her. They should. She's doing something real. Victor sits at a corner table, not commanding, not directing, just present. A woman whose medical bills the Foundation covered approaches him, thanks him. He listens like her words are scripture. He's learning, slowly, the kind of learning that happens when ego cracks and humility seeps through. A reporter asked Caleb last week what changed after that dance. He didn't have a good answer then. But watching this room, watching people see each other, really see each other, he understands now. Nothing changed. Everything changed. Same world, different eyes. Alara catches his gaze, waves him over. He sets Nora down. She immediately finds other kids to play with. He crosses to Alara. Someone wants to meet you, she says. A woman steps forward, mid-40s, scars running down her neck. She extends her hand. I saw the video. The dance. She swallows hard. I have a daughter, 16, burned in a house fire. Won't leave her room. Won't look in mirrors. Caleb's chest tightens. I'm sorry. The woman shakes her head. Don't be sorry. Help me. Help her. I don't know how to reach her anymore. Alara steps closer, takes the woman's other hand. I do. Let me talk to her. The woman's face crumples. Thank you. God, thank you. They exchange information. Make plans. The woman leaves lighter than she arrived. Caleb watches Alara, sees the way she's transformed from hidden to healer, from victim to voice. You're going to change a lot of lives, he says. We are. She corrects him. This doesn't work without you. The party continues. Music, laughter, Nora teaching other kids a dance she invented, Victor helping clean up without being asked. Small miracles disguised as ordinary moments. As the evening ends, Caleb stands outside, stars barely visible through Atlanta's light pollution. But there, still shining despite everything trying to drown them out. Alara joins him, hands him a folder. What's this? Our numbers. First quarter. We've helped 83 families, placed 12 people in jobs, provided therapy for 31 trauma survivors. That's just the beginning. She leans against the wall beside him. They stand in silence. Two people who found each other in the gap between suffering and hope. I talked to my mom's grave yesterday, Alara says quietly. Told her about the Foundation, about you, about how sometimes the people who save us don't even know they're doing it. Caleb's throat tightens. What did she say? Nothing, obviously. But I felt her. Proud. Present. She is. Wherever she is. They watch the last families leave. Parents holding children's hands. Survivors standing taller. The invisible made visible. The overlooked finally seen. Nora emerges, half asleep. Caleb scoops her up. She mumbles something about princesses and bravery and ice cream tomorrow. He carries her to the car. Alara walks beside them. Same time next week? She asks. Wouldn't miss it. She opens his car door. He buckles Nora into the back seat. The girl who draws hearts. Who believes her father hung the moon. Who's learning that courage looks like showing up. Before he gets in, Alara hugs him. Quick. Tight. Real. Thank you. For everything. Thank you. For reminding me what matters. He drives home through streets that haven't changed but feel different. Past buildings. Stoplights. People rushing toward their own stories. Nora wakes slightly when he carries her inside. Whispers, Daddy, did we help people today? Yeah, baby. We did. Good. That's what heroes do. She falls back asleep on his shoulder. He tucks her into bed, kisses her forehead, watches her breathe for a moment. This small person who's his entire world. In the kitchen, he finds his phone. A text from Alara. Same song tomorrow? When I drive. He smiles. Types back, always. Another text arrives. This one from Victor. Thank you for teaching an old man how to see. Dinner next week? You, Nora, Alara, me. Just family. Caleb stares at the word. Family. Not blood. Not obligation. Choice. He responds. We'd like that. Before bed, He stands at his window, looks out over a city full of people carrying invisible burdens, fighting private wars, surviving in ways no one witnesses. But somewhere in those buildings, a girl looks in a mirror and sees possibility instead of ruin. A father learns his daughter's worth isn't measured in perfection. A man realizes love isn't about grand gestures. It's about showing up, seeing, standing by. Scars don't make us broken. They make us believers. In the morning, his alarm will scream. He'll make coffee, pack Nora's lunch, draw a heart on her note. And somewhere across town, Alara will wake up without covering her face. Will look in the mirror and smile. Will drive herself somewhere while playing music that sounds like freedom. The world won't notice. It never does. Small revolutions happen in quiet moments, in back seats and ballrooms, in the space between suffering and the decision to stand anyway. But that's okay. Some stories don't need audiences, just witnesses, just two people dancing when the world said sit down, just a single dad and a scarred girl who reminded each other, you're enough. You've always been enough. Your scars are proof you survived. Your courage is proof you're still here. And being here, showing up, standing by each other when standing alone feels impossible, that's not just beautiful. That's everything. If this story moved you, if you believe in the power of seeing people for who they really are, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. More stories that inspire, that challenge, that remind us what it means to stand by love are coming. Share your thoughts in the comments. Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. Because sometimes, the people who drive you home are the ones who drive your destiny. And sometimes, the smallest act of courage changes everything.